Hello and welcome. Chris from Missouri here, bringing you another video about vintage baseball cards. In this video, I'm going to show you a couple cards. I'm going to show you a card that I recently got in the mail that came from a friend, and then I'm going to show you a card that I picked up at a card show this past weekend. See, I set up at a card show in Columbia, Missouri this past weekend, and I was a little bit hesitant to set up. I didn't expect too much out of this show for a few reasons. One reason, it was at a different venue, a change of location, and I thought maybe some people might have a hard time finding it if they didn't pay attention to that move we were notified. Two, there was a card show going on in Kansas City at the same time, and I thought that would take some of the guys, some of the people that were going to attend this show away so they could go to a bigger card show in Kansas City. But I was totally wrong. This goes out to show you what the pulse of the hobby is right now. There was a change of venue. There was another show going on, and a lot of people attended this show. Matter of fact, I believe, the show was bigger than it's ever been. I think there was 140 tables, 150 tables, and that's a little bit bigger than it's been. And I just thought it was kind of a better place as far as going. It was busy as can be. It was busier than what I expected. And having another show go on that same day, just about 2 hours down the road, didn't hurt it at all. And let me tell you a little bit about it. Besides it being crowded, I was pleasantly surprised, and some really cool stuff happened to me. I want to share that with you. But my friend Coop and Tom and my buddy Lane set up in the same kind of pod, and we had 10 different tables, and we filled different tables. And I brought some of my buddy Mauricio, my foreman Mauricio that I've talked about on here, who passed away. His son gave me the task of trying to sell off some of his stuff, and we're starting off with just his stuff that he had for sale, not his personal collection. And after getting over the emotions after setting that up, I set up my table, and I had four cases of vintage cards, mainly vintage cards. I had some other stuff to move. And then I brought, since we had so many tables, I brought some look-through boxes that I didn't even have a chance to go through. Matter of fact, I put on the front that these cards are anywhere from $1 to $20 or something like that. And just, I didn't really have much expectations on those. I thought, wow, this is a lot of weight to be carrying in here and different things. And I'm telling you, people were going through those boxes, and I had a big day. Mauricio's table had a big day as well, and I was very happy that took place. But I sold a lot of cards. But what was going on is I didn't get a chance. There were so many tables and only 5 of us to really. Some were on the other side in this pod, so everybody was so busy they couldn't step away from their own stuff. But my buddy Tyler kind of came to the rescue there for a little bit. I saw him there, and he was kind of finishing up and coming back every once in a while to chat and trying to tell us where some of the other vintage were. And he took my place, and I got to go out on the floor a little bit. But I did not get to buy a card out there. I didn't really get a chance to buy a card out there because it was, one, there wasn't a ton of vintage anyway. But I don't think Tyler was disappointed, and some other vintage guys disappointed. And then there was a Billy Ballgame sighting. I actually saw Billy. I hadn't seen him in a few months since the last show that he set up with us. So that was nice to see. So just to let you know that he is out there alive and kicking. But the best part of the show for me, I thought it was going to be the best, and it's one of the best. is early in the show, there was a fellow that came down and he handed me this letter. Let me read this to you. And it's not a letter. Apparently, he watched a Showcase Showdown with me and Baseball Collector. And he says, I'm thinking you should coerce Mr. Mintahan to get Cobb on the penalty wheel so you can kick his ass. And you know, north central Missouri isn't all that far from the Quad Cities. So this was signed by my buddy Otto, and he handed it to me. And he said he drove all the way down from Quad Cities to meet up with me. And, he also brought me a Snicker bar in payment of maybe him sponsoring this channel today. And now, speaking of sponsors, which I completely skipped over, Otto's going to be a sponsor of this channel. But also, two other sponsors that I didn't name earlier in here is Brad's Vintage Collection and Adam's Card Closet. Now, both of them are YouTubers, and they are now monetarily obligated, just like Otto, to get me either a Snicker bar, Skittles, Coke, something like that. So those are two great channels. Get over there and watch them, and just say hi to Otto on here. You get a chance. But Otto is a guy that's my age, and he's got a different kind of sense of humor that I enjoy. And he sat with me a big portion of the day. Well, no, I take that back. He walked around and tried to pick up some cards. He did buy a couple cards from me before he left. But when he left, I realized that, I have another friend just because of this hobby, just because of YouTube. And so if you guys, well, let me tell you another thing. It even got better for me. There was a guy that came by real quick. He's my age probably. And he said, hey, I watch your channel on YouTube. And his name's Rob. He said he made his wife watch the channel one time, so I sent her home a T-shirt. And man, he's not too far from here. And, I think he loves collecting baseball cards. Just our conversation, within a minute, I already knew I liked this guy. I mean, he's a pretty cool guy. So I hope, Rob, you're watching this, and you can get my phone number, or I know you got my phone number. Call me sometime. We'll either visit or meet up at a card show or something. And love to see you come down here and get in my card room and look at some cards and stuff. But that was really cool. And then later on in the day, Ethan is a young man that came up to me and was looking at cards, and he and his dad were there, and it was Ethan's first card show. So we made out a weird deal that Ethan ended up taking home with him, I think, a Fernando Tatis card. It's either that one or a Ronald Acuna. I don't know. I was just too busy looking at him and his face as we were discussing this, and the joy of him attending his first card show. So, Ethan, I hope you enjoy that card, and I hope I see you at another card show some other time. That is the best thing for me. I love making money. I don't want to lie to you there. I don't want to go carry all the stuff into a card show, set up, spend all day on my feet, and not make any money. But my favorite part is when people come over and just chat. And I like it when people give me just as much crap as I deserve. And I really appreciate that. Now I'm going to show you the cards that I did get. So I got this letter in the mail, and it reads something like this. It says, Chris, thanks again for such a great time hanging out with you. Just a little something to say thanks and to add to your collection. Love you, man, Mike. P.S. Don't tell Garrett Garrett Card Cutter or Canadian Mike how much I like you more than them. They will really get upset. And please don't tell Theo that you are a lot better looking than Theo. I don't know where Mike's getting that from, but Mike came down to visit me a couple of weeks ago, and we had a great hobby weekend, and he gave me, for my 1940 play ball collection, a Grover Alexander. Love that card. Now, I did pick up some cards at the card show. People came to me to sell some cards, and I bought some inventory from a group down at Coal Camp, a buddy of mine that I see all the time. And in that stuff that I bought for inventory, I'm going to take this one out and keep it. It's a 1991 Hank Aaron Kellogg card. Now, I like the way that looks. So I like all these weekends that I get to spend doing my hobby and having some hobby fun. I love making new friends. And guys, get over to Brad's Vintage Collection and Adam's Card Closet and watch their channels. They're probably a little bit more articulate than I am, and you'll enjoy it. Give them a like. And guys, remember, this is just a hobby. Collect what you like.